Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a concept that, well, it quietly shapes the future of almost every modern business, but it's often a bit of a mystery outside of the tech department. We're talking about technical debt. And we're basing this explainer on a fantastic report from Virtualization Options LLC, a research group that's really good at translating these complex tech topics for business leaders just like you. So let me just start by asking you a question. What if I told you that somewhere in your business there's a hidden loan? A loan you never officially signed off on, but it's there, and it's piling up interest every single day, quietly draining your resources and, maybe worse, your ability to innovate. Sound scary? Well, for a lot of companies, it's not a hypothetical. It's happening right now. And this hidden loan has a name: technical debt. It's really the perfect metaphor, isn't it? It describes what happens when your teams choose the quick and dirty solution to a problem, instead of the better, more solid, long-term fix. You get that immediate win, right? You hit that urgent deadline. But in the process, you've taken on a debt. And like any debt, it comes with interest. That's the future price you're going to pay for taking that shortcut. Okay, so let's dig into this a little more, because with any kind of loan, the first thing you have to do is understand where it came from. Technical debt isn't just some vague problem. It's a real liability that pops up from some very common, everyday business situations. I mean, think about these scenarios. You've probably lived through them. That impossible deadline forces your team to cut corners. Boom, that's debt. Or maybe the team just didn't have the right expertise for a brand new technology, so they built something that, well, it works, but it's not built to last. That's more debt. You know, the market shifts, you have to pivot your whole strategy, and you need your software to change like yesterday. All those rushed fixes, yep, more debt. And then, of course, there are the legacy systems, the old tech that's been running for years, carrying the weight of every single shortcut taken along the way. Now we get to the really critical part, the cost. See, if you don't actively work to repay this debt, you start making interest payments. And unlike a simple bank loan, this interest doesn't just show up as a single line item. No, it creeps into everything, hitting your bottom line in ways you might not even notice at first. Your first interest payment is speed, or a lack of it. Just imagine your top developers trying to build an exciting new feature, but they have to do it on a messy, tangled, complicated foundation. It's like trying to run through mud. Everything just takes longer. Simple tweaks become massive projects, and your ability to innovate, to react to your market, it just slows to a crawl. Second, your costs just keep going up. It's way more expensive to maintain systems that are bogged down by technical debt. The code is a nightmare to understand, so fixing even a small bug takes way more time, way more people. You end up burning more and more of your budget just trying to keep the lights on instead of investing that money in, actually growing the business. The third payment, that's risk. And this one is huge. All that outdated code, those systems that haven't been patched, those quick workarounds, they are often riddled with security holes. Technical debt can literally be a wide open door for hackers, putting your customer data, your reputation, your entire operation in serious danger. And all of this, it leads to the fourth, and honestly, the most dangerous cost of all. You lose your competitive edge. When you're slower, you're more expensive, and you're less secure than your rivals, you just can't keep up. You start missing opportunities, you fall behind on innovation, and at the end of the day, you risk losing your market share to competitors who are leaner, faster, and more agile. So let's just put this all together, right? This is not just some tech speak about bad code. This is about a direct, measurable hit to your business. Every new feature that gets delayed is a real development cost. Every bug that pops up is a real maintenance cost. And every single time you can't adapt to a market change, well, that's a lost opportunity with a real price tag. This is the true cost of technical. So if we're calling this a loan, how do you find out your balance? How do you actually audit what you owe? It might sound a bit abstract, but there are some really concrete ways to measure your technical debt. Kind of like doing a financial audit. First up, code complexity. Just think about a ridiculously convoluted business process. It's inefficient and things are always going wrong, right? Well, overly complex code is the exact same thing. And you can actually use tools to analyze it and pinpoint your debt hotspots. Second, defect rates. This one's pretty straightforward. A high number of software bugs is like having a high return rate on a physical product. It's a flashing red light that tells you there's a fundamental quality problem somewhere. Third on the list, deployment frequency. How quickly can your team release new updates or features to your customers? If it takes you months to push out a simple change, that's a sure sign that technical debt is acting like an anchor, dragging down your entire business. And this might be the most valuable one of all. Just ask your developers. Seriously, they are on the front lines every single day. They know exactly where the bodies are buried. Their feedback is pure gold. Okay, so you've done the audit, you have an idea of what you're dealing with. Now what? Well, here's the good news. You can absolutely create a repayment plan. And this isn't about halting all progress just to fix old problems. It's about being strategic and weaving solutions right into the way you move forward. And it really boils down to 3 core strategies. First, you refactor. Think of this like rewiring an old house. You're not knocking it down, you're just improving the guts of it to make it safer and way more efficient. Second, you modernize. This is about adopting better, newer tools and system designs. And third, you optimize. This means improving the very processes your teams use to build and deliver software in the first place. And this slide is a perfect example of that modernized step. The old way of building software was creating these huge, monolithic applications. Think of it like one giant tangled machine. If one tiny part breaks or needs an upgrade, the whole thing has to shut down. The new way, using microservices, is like breaking that giant machine into a bunch of smaller, independent, specialized tools. Now you can fix, update, or replace one little tool without touching anything else. This right here, this is the secret to real business agility. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that managing technical debt isn't just some chore you can delegate to the IT department. It is a leadership function. And if you handle it the right way, it can actually become a powerful strategic advantage for your company. And the report from Virtualization Options LLC really says it all with this quote. As a leader, you have to be the champion for this. You have to make people aware of it. You have to prioritize paying it down. And maybe the most important part, you have to empower your teams to make the right long-term choices, even when all the pressure is screaming for a short-term fix. And when you look at the companies that are really winning, this is exactly what they do. They don't just react to debt, they manage it proactively. They make smart investments in modern infrastructure. They lean heavily on automation to work smarter, not harder. And they build a culture where everyone, from the developers to the boardroom, is speaking the same language and working toward the same goal. So that really leaves us with one last critical question that you should ask yourself. Take a hard look at your own organization. Is your technology a true strategic asset, something that's actually powering you forward? Or is it slowly becoming a growing liability, that hidden loan that's quietly holding you back? The answer to that question will define your company's future. Thanks for joining The Explainer.